good to take Kenyans through the election process.
Absolutely.
Number one, this election cannot be stolen. I think it should come out very clearly. Because of the headlines that we are seeing here, Venezuelans and whatever, this is interfering with the part of the electronic voting. Number one, when you arrive at the when you arrive at the polling
we know
station,
how to vote. We voted before.
Yeah, so there are three components. We know the three components
Zainab,
of
let
the
me
election.
just take
there are four components actually.
Okay, let's just give Philip his space to talk as well.
Let's stop the heckling.
Let me take Esbon through the election process. Number one, when you arrive at the polling station,
please leave that.
You are identified electronically. Identification is electronic.
Right.
Number two, you are given the ballot paper, and then
which is a manual thing.
Which is a manual.
Yeah,
so identification is electronic.
Right.
Voting is manual, and also counting is manual, and then transmission of the results is electronic. So I think this, and then after that, of course, the result. There's an image that is taken. It is sent to the national tallying center, and then after that, you can even take a photo of the result. If you are an ordinary or you are an agent, you can take the photo, and then you can even record. You can record even when the results are being announced. So whatever we are seeing, Zainab, is someone who wants to dodge that process. In fact, if you use the manual Esbon, you know what will happen is that someone can just be using the same name to vote, using a ruler, and repeating the same name and highlighting the same person, the same voter. So I think going forward, this election, no cheating can take place because all the safeguards have been put. So anyone who wants to say that the election will be interfered with,
I think it's fair to say that with any system,
are very careful
there's always a risk, and I think Dennis can confirm, there's always a risk to any system, especially when it comes to technology.
You know, even after using the electronic identification, before you start counting, you have to ascertain that the number of those who have been identified in the KIMS kit is the same as those ones, the votes that have been voted. So you can never send the results if they don't tally. And you only send the results once. Okay. And also this KIMS kit cannot send a Form 34 of another polling center. Mm. It is configured. So I think just telling Kenyans that we turn to manual, I think this is taking us to the 21st century.
I think Kim is still in the past. I think the issue of manual is already sorted. Mm. IBC even talked about how they are going to mitigate any fears, any fears of someone dead, someone who does not want to vote coming there, because they'll eliminate the ID card. So you can't show up and say, I'm so and so. I cannot be identified by the KIMS kit and vote using an ID whose source we don't know. But let us not digress. No one say that anyone is going to rig any election. I think we live in a country where the media is very robust. Any kind of mischief will be in the public domain. What we are saying is, if there is any fear of interference with the electoral process, there are institutions that are charged with that mandate. Whether we like them or not, those are the institutions that we've formed. No one is going to believe what Azimio says about these guys from Venezuela or wherever they come from. No one is going to believe what Kenya Kwanza says. We only depend on the DCI. It is the DCI that we have. It is the DCI that we fund to do all this. And all we can do, if there are any gray areas, like Dennis has clearly said, he's a security expert. There are certain gray areas. You cannot get into this country with a fake passport.
But Hesbon, you have an institution that has been largely condemned and scrutinized by one side of a political part, a side which talks about the DCI being agents of, what they call state or deep state. So then how do you convince this other side that whatever statements that come from this institution, which is constitutionally mandated, of course, investigate issues that arise like this, that it's a fair, assessment of the real situation on the ground?
You see, given the DCI and a political formation, who would you believe more? Probably not the DCI, but certainly you can't believe a political formation. And that's why in a democracy, there are 4 arms. There's the judiciary, there's the legislature, there's the executive, and there's the media, the 4th estate. So the issues that are raised by Dennis, those are issues that the media can help us, get ahead and understand to what extent are we having gaps in what the DCI is doing. Because it's one thing for a political formation to tell us that institutions are weaponized. But it's another thing for those institutions to be exactly weaponized because they are because of what they are saying. I mean, they could be doing that for political expediency. And we've seen this. I mean, in 2017, when cabinet secretaries were campaigning for Jubilee, the deputy president and the entire Jubilee team was very happy with it. So if it was right then, it cannot be wrong now. It can't. I mean, they started this journey of making the cabinet secretaries part of the political formations. But lastly, if there are issues, let me just come back to Dennis. If there are issues, because a number of issues are raised, out of this. If someone cannot get into this country using a fake passport, then it means they actually came with a genuine passport. If the passport that they gave the DCI is fake, it leads us to more questions. Then how did they get into the country?
I believe the expired passport came from them from, I think, Venezuela to Panama. And that was the question that came from the expiry of the passport. And
you see, it's the reason why then we cannot believe a political formation. We cannot agree, with statements that are attacking the DCI and defending the IBC. I mean, when you are too cozy with the referee of a game and you're also a player, you want your opponent to keep quiet. You want the public to keep quiet. I mean, it doesn't add up, And it's the best thing as noble citizens of this country is to allow the state institutions, where they go wrong, it is the citizenry. And we have the media, and we have a social contract with the media. The media knows that we have some trust in the media, and they can give us the right pathways to decide.